Hello and welcome everyone. I'm Sherry Nichols and I want to welcome you to Eye on Inspiration Live, where we explore the true source of love, giving you the tools to live your most sparkling best life. And today I am thrilled to have someone I dearly love. He is my cycling instructor, not just a cycling instructor, he's an uber awesome cycling instructor, Adam Johansson. And I don't say that lightly about his awesomeness. I mean, he recently won Best Instructor of the Year for Equinox of their entire West Coast. This guy is amazing. People actually, in order to reserve a class, a bike in one of his classes, you literally have to get up at like the crack of dawn, 26 hours before he teaches. And if you're like 30 seconds late in getting there, you miss out. I mean, his classes book out absolutely so quickly. He is a fantastic, fantastic instructor. And I really love this man because he's helping me get back into shape. And he's going to talk to us today about how to free yourself from fatigue. And we're going to talk about how that works with exercising. And let me just tell you, Adam is certified in Schwinn, Stages, Mad Dog, and Spinning. And he is going to tell us, first of all, how he got involved in all of this. So Adam, welcome to the show. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here in a whole different context.
Whatever context.
So share with us, I'd love to know how you got started in fitness, because you are in incredible shape and you're really one of the finest instructors I've ever had the pleasure and privilege of working out with.
Oh, thank you. So I think fitness has always been important to me. I'm very active as a child. And as I got older, especially around high school, I always stayed active. Even if I played sports when I was littler, and then I stopped playing sports when I got older, but I always wanted to work out. So I have belonged to some fitness studio since I've been 15.
Oh, wow.
And over the years, I had a few dips where I would maybe not go as much as I should go, but I always went back. So I just have always stayed with it. And about 10 years ago, one of my best friends, she has also been a cycling instructor for at least a decade, maybe a decade and a half. And I never took her class. So she kept begging me. She goes, look, we've been best friends for years. I'm kind of hurt. You've never taken my class. You really have to see what I do. So I said, look, your time, she teaches at 5:30 in the morning. And I said, I love you to death, but I'm not getting up at 5:30 to take a class. So she took a class that I used to take at Equinox. I was a member. And I happened to have shoes since they're right outside. I had cycle shoes. And we booked a class and we rode together. And within 10 minutes, I was just so hooked. The energy, the feeling, the music, you sweat like you've never thought you were going to sweat before. But everything is just great. So I just started doing it. I mean, for month after month, year after year, I was taking classes. And she said, you know what? She said, you really love it. Why don't you teach? And at the time, I was in my 30s. And I figured, oh, you're crazy. I'm too old. I can't do that. I can't go back and do another career. And she said, look, I need to redo my certification. It's time for me to renew. The renewal and the new certification, it's the same thing. Come with me. It's a day. It's 12 hours. It's a couple $100. Let's do it together. So I kind of figured, what the heck? What do I have to lose? One day, a couple $100. I wasted more money on that before. So I went with her. And we spent the whole day, and I knew right then and there, I'm like, this is my second chapter of my life career. And I've just been teaching ever since. And I love it with every fiber of my being.
And well, let me tell you, you are sweaty from head to toe.
Head to toe.
Head to toe. Okay. I mean, it is one of the best workouts that I have ever had in such a short period of time that really addresses so much, the cardio, the strength, and it's just, it's awesome. And I'm so
awesome. And what's
grateful to your best friend.
And what's so great about, cycle in terms of fitness is it's something that you can do long-term, where there are some amazing, aerobic classes that are great and they're fun, but they put impact on the body. You're using risers, or used to be called steps, and you're jumping and you're changing positions rapidly. And for some people, that takes a toll on joints, especially lower back, on our hips and our knees. And what's beautiful about cycle is it's incredibly high cardio, but we don't have impact. We never hit the ground. So cycle and swimming is something that I tell people you can do whether you're in your 30s, your 50s, or 60s. I have people in my classes that are in their 70s and their 80s, and they cycle 2 to 3 times a week.
That's incredible.
It's incredible, yeah.
That is incredible. You know, what do you find is the number one benefit that you get from exercise in your life?
For me, I think for me personally, I love, like many of us, we don't admit it, but I love food. I really, really love to eat. And I have a few friends who they eat just to live, and I kind of live to eat. I really enjoy so many foods. So I think regular exercise, whether it's fitness or swimming or running, it allows you to burn the calories. So of course we need to put calories in for life, but a lot of calories are for fun. And I think people have to admit that, they want that cupcake. They want that plate of pasta. Do we need it? Absolutely not. Should we have it all the time? Absolutely yes. But burn it off. The problem we get, especially when we get to a certain age, and that for most of us is 30 plus, metabolism changes. It happens for women a little earlier, men generally a little bit later, but that I used to eat a pizza for lunch when I was in high school doesn't work anymore for us. Yeah. So by continuing exercise, I like to call it 30 plus. I like to call everybody 30 plus. If you're,
I'm up for that.
Yeah, 30 plus, it's about moving. It's about burning calories. It's about staying fit. It's about continuing to move. And I think it's so important to never become sedentary. Mm-hmm. It happens to so many of us. We get comfortable. Mm-hmm. We get tired, or what we think is tired, which I know we'll discuss later. And it might not be that you're tired. It might be that you're not moving enough. And I think that's so important for us.
Yeah. And let's dive into that, because I know a lot of times people think that they're just too tired. They're really too tired to go out and do something. And that is a real feeling. It's real. When you had a long day of work and you come in and you're exhausted and you sit down and you're like, oh, the last thing I want to do is exercise. I just don't have the energy. Can you speak to that a bit? Because I think that, there's really an understanding of how to break that you can enlighten us with.
So I think for me, and I'm one of I have, friends and other instructor friends and just friends, family members who really who love working out at night. I'm not a nighttime exerciser. I don't enjoy it. So for me, even when I was at UCLA, decades ago, or not decades ago, but a while ago, we'll call it a few years ago. I had classes some of my classes started at 7 or 7:30 in the morning, but I knew if I was at class all day and then I get home at 4:35 or 5:30 or 6, and then I have homework and I have dinner, like you said, here comes 7:38, 8:39. There's not too many of us that say, God, I'm going to put on those exercise pants and I'm going to get on those shoes and I'm going to go take a class. I'm going to go run. I'm going to go lift weight. It doesn't work for me. So for me to break that thing is I know that even if I'm tired in the morning, I'm more tired at night. So I would get up at 4:30 and I would exercise before I would get ready to go to UCLA and do all my classes. And it was just a point where you're going to be tired in the morning and you're going to be tired at night. So you have to ask yourself, where am I more tired? Is it going to be hard? Both ways. But what's going to get done? And for me, it meant getting up at 4:30 and getting to the gym or going running at 5 or 5:15 and then having all day. And then I knew when I came home at night, tired, it was sweatpants and food and TV. And the workout was done. Yeah. And that to me, I think is you have to ask yourself, when are you going to be less tired? And we all know that. All of us are either morning people or night people. Answer the question and then do it.
Yeah, right. And what I have found too, Adam, is that first of all, kudos to you, because I've never been a person that could get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Hard.
Exercise. Oh my gosh, that's like pulling teeth to get me to do that. Exercise at midnight. But I would Although I do get up at that hour to book your class. So
You're up.
that's true. But what I find is that oftentimes when I'm really, really tired, if I can just get myself out the door, put the tennis shoes on and get out the door, after about, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes, I start to feel more energized.
Become alive.
Become
Endorphins
alive.
or pop in, serotonins go in. I always tell people the hardest part, and whether this relates to cycle or an aerobic class you're taking or a water aerobics or whatever you do exercise-wise, even if it's going running by yourself or you have a stationary bike in your home office or you watch, I almost said tapes, 30 plus DVDs or streaming, you need, I shouldn't say tape it, you need to just find that time and you need to just do it. The hardest part of exercise, and I know this sounds, people are like, oh no, that's not true, is getting there.
Yeah.
Once you're at your gym or your yoga studio or your whatever you're doing exercise, you're there. Yeah. The hardest part, the alarm goes off. You get up. You don't hit snooze more than one time. That's a rule. One snooze maximum, preferably none, and you get up. Getting there is the hardest part. But once you're there, like you said, 5, 10, 15 minutes in, it feels great. Yeah. And you know that, you know what, whatever happens the rest of the day, and I always tell myself, the rest of the day could go to hell in a handbasket, but you started it. And this is another reason why I like to work out in the morning. I got my workout done, and whatever else happens, you controlled your morning. Mm. You got up, you took control of your morning. You said it's going to be 30 minutes or an hour, whatever you set aside for your exercise and your personal health, you took control. Mm-hmm. The rest of the day, you might not have that control. Phone calls, bad emails, cars break down, kids get sick. But if you do it in the morning, you had one point of your day where you had complete control. And I love that feeling of, I did something that I controlled my way.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Yeah. So that's a mindset trick.
Total mindset. It's 100% mindset. Once you get to the gym or once you start running, you kind of have to do it. I always joke, if you go to a gym, you can only hang out so long at the juice bar or the steam room until it doesn't look quite normal. So you get there, getting there, hardest part, mindset. Yeah. I'm there and you do it.
Yeah.
It just works for me.
Do you, and the other thing I like about that too, morning exercise, it really sets you up for a great day. Because when you look at the benefits, Adam, I mean, you know, we talk about burning the calories, and obviously there's obvious ones of, you know, becoming toned and
metabolism for cycle. It kickstarts your metabolism and it keeps it burning a little bit higher for up to 10 hours. Mm. So just the rest of the day, you're burning a little more efficiently than if you would have started the day sedentary with getting up and not doing something. Oh. And now I want to get back to that. Some people really can't work. Maybe they might have an early morning shift where they can't exercise. So then you do have to do nighttime. Mm-hmm. But it just, again, finding yourself what works for you. And you might find out you like nighttime. For me, what happens is I get incredibly hungry and I eat maybe more than I would eat normally. And then I take a shower and when I get to bed, I'm a little bit revved up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's just what works for me. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, everybody, I love that. Whatever works for you, test it out, experiment with it, see what it is. And beyond those benefits of the burning of the calories, increased metabolism, there's also the benefit of it, you know, what it does for you mentally, right? And
huge.
So chat about that for a bit, because, you know, we're talking about freedom from fatigue, but a lot of times it's what's going on in our minds that also creates the fatigue. Yeah. So share with us a little bit about how exercise is really so beneficial for the mind.
I actually think that it can be, I work for Equinox, so we even have a program that we do with Maria Shriver, and it's called Move for Minds. It showed that men and women, but mainly women, exercise is one of the biggest, if not the number one contributor to starve off or delay Alzheimer's disease. So we call it Move for Minds. So you're moving physically, yes, but you're moving just as much for your mind. It is one of the most beneficial things you can do to stay alert, for short-term memory, for long-term memory. So when we think of exercise, right away you just think about burning calories, losing weight, looking good, but it's so much more. I mean, those are wonderful benefits, but I almost like to think exercise, those are side benefits. The benefits are what we can't see inside. And it's so important, I mean, mentally to stay clear and alert. And so many of us take for granted memory, doing day-to-day things. Like you and I might not have to think about twice, did I turn the iron off?
Yeah.
Is the cooktop still running? And these are things that exercise can help, especially that many of us are 30 plus.
Yes, a little bit more than 30 plus.
30 plus, hold it.
But I still say I love that 30 plus.
30
and
plus.
I'm really glad that you brought that up. I wasn't really quite aware of how big of an impact exercise had on your memory. And you know, my mother had dementia and my aunt had Alzheimer's, and so it's something that I am always looking to see what can I do to stave this off, because and so this is, I do notice, I have to say, Adam, now that you're saying that, I do notice that my mind is much more alert.
You don't forget the little things. And with the Alzheimer's or the even dementia or just forgetfulness, now that we know that exercise is even more important than doing the little tasks we used to do. Reading is still very important. Sudoku, puzzle, still very important for us. And I don't want people to ever stop that. But now we know that actual physical movement is more important. Or you need to incorporate that in with the other things that we do. Because getting older, as I always tell people, it might not be the number we want. But how many people of us aren't fortunate enough to have that number?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so, you know, we might want to only be 25 or 30 or 35 or 40 or 50, but there are people that would give anything to be 60 or 65 or 70 or 80.
Yeah.
And if we can be those numbers and still look and kind of feel like we did with a younger number, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Something as simple as just moving. Yeah. Just like, I love how we coined it, move for minds. We have to move for the mind. It's important. Yeah.
It's very, and so if you're not able to access a cycle or you know, a gym, even just walking. Walking is still one of, if not the best things you can do for your body. 20, 30 minutes walking every single day. And if it's bad weather, I have friends who live, you know, East Coast and family in Germany and Sweden. And it sounds crazy, but they'll walk around the house for half an hour. It's about moving. Yeah. And things like, I love to clean. I know it's crazy. I just move from my mind. We don't think about it. But when you're moving that vacuum cleaner around, not only are you burning calories, you're moving. Yeah. So stuff that you have to do that you don't want to do, taking the laundry basket up and down the stairs, vacuuming, going to the garage, going to the mailbox. These are things that you can do, and you don't need a gym. No. You really can do it in the comfort. Well, I won't say comfort. You can do it in your home. Because if you're looking to always be comfortable, you have to always tell people there's a box of comfort that we all live in. And I tell people in class all this year after year, most of us do everything we can day in and day out to be comfortable. Air conditioning, heating when it's cold, air conditioning in the car, running to the air conditioned store. Give yourselves a little bit every day to move and not worrying about being comfortable. You're going to sweat. It's not going to be fun. Maybe it will be fun. It's just, you got to move. Yeah, no, that's great. That is really great sound advice. And speaking of the mental state, I know that you have something that you talk about called the brown water question. I think that's right. I'd love you to share what that is and the perception around it.
So for years when I teach, or I just talk about it with friends and family, it's called the brown water question. So before I tell us what that is, most of us in the Western world are beyond lucky and fortunate, blessed, whatever you want to call, for the things that we have day in and day out. A roof over our head, a dry roof over our head, a floor, whether it's carpet or tile or wood, a floor. We have electricity. And we have water. And now you've talked about, working for countries that need water, purifying water. I ask people, when you wake up in the morning and you get up and you go to the bathroom or you walk into your kitchen and you turn on your faucet, does brown water come out? And if you can say no, every morning I get up and I have clear water, you're doing pretty good. If you're not drinking brown water, or you don't have to drink brown water, or you don't have to bathe in brown water, or attempt to wash your clothes in brown water, you're very fortunate. And I know everything we deal with, I mean, we have ups and downs. I mean, parents get sick, children get sick, we get sick, cars break down, appliances break. These are normal life things. And at the moment, they seem like a really big deal. And I always try to remind myself, when something happens that we think is bad, my water's clear. I have clear running water. So the flat tire or the broken transmission or the drapes that arrived that didn't match that you ordered, little tiny problems that most people in the world would be so fortunate to have are problems. So groundwater question, every morning you get up, you take a deep breath in, you get up, your water's clear, you're gonna have a pretty good day.
Yeah, it's a good day. I absolutely love that question, because not only are we talking about freedom from fatigue, but we're talking about freedom from perceived problems that really burden us and make us feel more fatigued.
And then some of these problems for years I've always said, I mean, we have problems that are real. I mean, of course, different countries, different cultures, different socioeconomic backgrounds, we all have problems. They're different at different levels. But the problems that most of us experience, I like to call them high quality problems. Mm-hmm. They're problems, but they're very high quality problems. Yeah. They're problems that other people, they're not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all just that shift in your perspective.
Shift in your perspective.
Yeah, which can change everything for you and make you feel so much lighter and so much lighter. And I think that is so important, because I talk to so many people, and sometimes they have a problem thinking about something. I'll ask them, what are you grateful for today? And sometimes they can't think of anything. And so this is a great question to ask yourself, because we do live in a very luxurious.
I mean, we take these things as the electricity, the water, having a floor, as not luxurious, but it's just our basic needs.
Yeah.
And they're not basic needs. I mean, we are so above what's considered a basic life need. Yeah. We all live in luxury. Yeah. Whether it's a studio apartment in an area that you don't consider so great, or a beautiful home in a gorgeous neighborhood, that little studio apartment in what you consider a not good neighborhood would be a dream for 75, 80% of the world.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's just, and as you said, Adam, we all have problems. We live, and it's all perspective, right? Where you live and what your perceived problem is. But it's always so important to bring you back to that basic, because really, truly, gratitude is the greatest freedom you'll ever have once you step into that. Yeah. So Adam, thank you so much for being with us today and sharing.
It's an honor for me. Thank you.
Amazing insights. It's such an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to have spent this time with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Bye for now.
Bye.